Yeah, Ariane.
Mametsi Romani Inc. FM.
The Lesotho police has frequently been on the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. According to recent Amnesty International, police brutality, extrajudicial killings, and torture have often gone without repercussions.
And it is evident that Basotho in general have had negative perceptions towards the security sector, citing a couple of things, either brutality or things like that. So I think there is need to address the gap there in an effort to increase satisfaction towards the services provided by the security sector.
And yes, indeed, most people, including some of the police officers, are afraid when they are called upon to report themselves to the police, mainly because of the fear of being brutally maybe dealt with by members of the LMPS. So you can imagine if the police themselves are even afraid to be called upon by their fellow police officers, what more of the members of the public in general?
I think for us as civil society, it's up to us to take this issue to the relevant institutions like Parliament, where the laws are made, to recommend to the relevant committees that they should take this issue of police complaints to the situation where their reports should be reported to the National Assembly, direct to the committees, because at the moment it doesn't serve any purpose, and most of the taxpayers, they are just paying tax without getting a benefit out of that.
The power of bringing all stakeholders in one room to appreciate various roles of oversight is key to harmonizing functions.
In those countries where the security institutions serve the state, we all see what happens. But if you go to countries like Tunisia, which has come out of dictatorships, autocratic rule, to democracy, where the people are part of policing through community policing structures, is the police realise their job is easier.
This 2 days workshop will further discuss on how various offices can best serve and deliver to the public without operating in silos. Rapelang Khatebe, SABC News, Masego, Lesotho.
Well, for a little bit more on this, we're now joined by SABC correspondent Rapelang Khatebe. Great to talk to you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, and it's been beautiful.
Yeah, such a big issue to be dealing with.
And thanks for the light coming back.
Yes, indeed. Such a big issue to be dealing with, security and trust.
Indeed, quite a big issue. And honestly, if you look at the trajectory, the history of where Lesotho comes from, with political instability, security instability, one would say they really have come a long way to try and harmonize, to come to an extent whereby they can really do an introspection, look into themselves in issues of oversight, such that at least they can harmonize those divisions, such that at least they can operate as one and avoid operating in silos, such that at least there is some sort of level of accountability, especially with the reforms taking process, Peter.
It wasn't that long ago where police and the army were literally fighting each other. How far have we come there?
It's been a journey, one would say, as you would say, and it has taken quite some sacrifices. You'll understand that Lesotho had lost over 2 senior military officers and quite a drastic change into the police authority, change from the head, such that they can come to a point whereby they understand the role they play when it comes to civilian rule, and to actually move and get themselves out of politics and not be under the armpit or under the pockets of the police, such that they understand their mandate, which is the public mandate to serve the community of Basotho and the nation of Basotho, without meddling into areas of politics, where usually is where the great cause of division often comes. Looking at the previous elections, you will actually see the manifestation of what actually transpired. You will see that there has been quite a progress, and I think one should applaud the facilitation of the SADC various missions that has come, especially dealing with the security sector. And I think there has been quite a progress that we do not want to see those steps being eroded. And I hope this is a start of them positively participating, such that some of the suggestions that has transpired, when they are now enacted into the reforms bill, they can actually bring lasting peace of the security sectors now moving as one unit.
Talking about the police in particular, would you say that by and large a lot of the abuses had been born out of political issues, that maybe the powers in charge in the time perhaps were abusing their privilege and using police for political ends?
Most definitely, Peter. It's very hard to ignore the element of political meddling into it. Remember how most of them actually recruit them with promises of jobs, that when they are voted into power, they will create jobs. We had reports that numbers and numbers of recruitment into the security sector were actually politically motivated, that the politicians will actually go to their constituencies and just get numbers and lists and plant their own people into those sectors. Now, when there is a change of government, these are hurdles that one now needs to deal with, whether you have people that are committed to individuals or actually understand the call of duty that they serve the nation and not individuals. So it has been quite a long process, to an extent that you did hear some politicians even say, we put our heads on the block because certain security clusters had played their role in either protecting or at least being biased towards certain politicians in protecting their personal interest, simply because you can see that now it is payback time. And a lot of what has been historical should be pointed out towards political meddling when it comes to the security sector. But I think if you look at the current picture, there is a shift of thinking, there is a shift of understanding, especially for those who have gone now to court, because by the time you understand that, you will only appear as an individual when you go to court, and there will not be a politician that supports you from behind. I think this is beginning to now filter into people's minds that is the nation first.
Who has been responsible for this change? The former Prime Minister?
I want to be honest, it's a combination of all the efforts that has come through. If you look at what this United Development Partners, the agencies, they really paid huge amounts of money, I think, to investing in the long-lasting security. The civil organizations that have come together. Yes, there has been recent political willing. If you look at the past few years of politicians, I think now beginning to understand that people have actually come to their awareness to see that they want politicians that can actually promise them tangible results, and not that building a castle in the air and promising them things that cannot happen. I think the nation is much wiser to avoid politicians that simply promises them that they will pay back either with jobs or with some sort of give back.
Typically, what sort of abuses were most common by police? Are we talking beatings, assaults, or illegal detentions? What were we seeing?
Yo, Peter, it was far worse. If you look at some of the study that was conducted by the Amnesty International, I mean, there was a point whereby they recorded in 1 month numbers of police tortures, ordinary civilians that were protesting because they wanted water and service delivery, that were made to roll over, and harsh punishments. But the number of killings that had happened, I think between 2018, 2019, I mean, it had come to a point whereby Lesotho was actually considered the murder capital because of the number of killings. Now, if you talk about these musical factions, groupings, the type of killings that were going on there, and you think you run out to the police are also not as friendly, and they actually said they investigate and beat the bounce out of you, you know. They investigate through you, not because you come to the police station to come and provide evidence. No, they force evidence out of you. So a lot of lives were lost in the hands of the police, and they had admitted to that. So other than gross and irregular detentions, politically motivated, there had been a free reign of security sector, really free reigning on their own. So yes, other than killings, but we have now, I think, seen a subside into those gross political dealings.
Well, it sounds like great news, the strides that are being made by the government and the security sector in particular. Rapelang, always great talking to you. Thank you so much for representing us out there so well. We want to get more awards in Lesotho for the SABC.